I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, I'm delighted to welcome back one of my favorite authors, one of my favorite guests. Her name is Patti C. Smith, and she has written a captivating novel. It is called The Shingle Weaver's Picnic. It is set in 1941, and this historical thriller captures the tension of World War II, a murder mystery, and the journey of young Cricket, whose world is shaken by both war and tragedy. Join us right now as we unravel the secrets and suspense of this powerful story. We're delighted to have this wonderful author join us here today on Spotlight, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Patti, welcome back to Spotlight. Wonderful to have you back on the show again today.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
My pleasure. Let's start out by giving the folks at home a little bit of the big picture. Let's give them the overview of the Shingle Weavers picnic.
Well, it does take place in the early part of beginning of World War II, and it's a story of a young girl who always spends her summers in Everett, Washington, when it was a very, very small little lumber town with her grandparents. This one particular summer, her mother is expecting and is banned from travel, so she's on her own. And she goes up to and visits her grandparents. And she has a collection of friends that she meets every summer. And they have just wonderful times. They go through the strawberry fields and they have what they call a shingle weaver's picnic that's put on by the lumber mills. And most of the people in town work for the lumber mills, and it's a free picnic. And the kids know the ice cream is really free. So they're looking forward to get ready for that. And there is a murder that happens with one of her young friends, which really upsets the town. Things like that just didn't happen back in those days. And that is the basic story,
Yeah. What was the
sort
inspiration
of.
for the story? Is this something you heard about growing up, or is it a story that people told you about, or complete sheer inspiration and imagination?
Well, I got a lot of my characters that are in the story because I knew them and when I was up there, and there were so many of them, and they were so much a part of my life each summer. The story itself is made up. It's definitely fiction, but the characters in it are very real to me, and I remember them very clearly, very clearly.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful era, such a beautiful region. It really transports you back into time. And I think that's part of the magic of the book.
Well, thank you. I wrote what I saw, and that's how I write. When I
Yeah.
see it, I close my eyes and I can see it. That's what I write. And yeah, it was very vivid to me, and I'm so happy that I could get that across to my readers.
Of course, the readers who haven't read it yet are going to be curious as to exactly what is a shingle weaver. So why don't you explain that for us?
Okay, I do get asked that question often. The lumber mills, there was quite a few of them in Everett at the time, and part of the mill was devoted to a making of shingles, and they used to come down in a sort of a loft type thing and into a pile, and the people would sit at this sort of a bench, and they would stack and weave the shingles and wrap them for selling, and they became known as shingle weavers.
Yeah. And every now and then, I guess the shingle weavers had a picnic, and hence the title of your book, which is great. And I'm sure that was a big
Yes.
socialization event, a socializing event in that era for sure. A picnic sounds like a wonderful time, even in this era. Tell us a little bit about Cricket and her role in the novel. She's an intriguing character.
Well, she's not really coming of age, well, younger part of coming to age. And it was quite a thing for her to be separated from her mom and travel on her own. But there was an agency called Travelers Aid at that time, and they would come aboard trains and check for people that needed help or for younger people. So she started feeling very much like a big girl. And she arrived, and of course, her grandfather was the apple of her eye, and he treated her like she was a grown up little girl. And And when things started to happen that she didn't understand, she really felt she could go to him, and he knew how to tell her in a way she understood what was going on in this world. And the death and of her father and of this particular child were very, very traumatizing to her, as it was to the whole town. So she grew up sort of fast, but she grew up in the loving care of her grandfather.
Yeah. Amazing aspect to the story. It's very, very, very charming. One of the many charming aspects of it. Now, your work as an artist extends beyond just writing. You're also a stained glass artist. Tell us about that part of your work.
Oh, yes, that was some of these things that come in my life, like the writing or like that, or just sort of a little miracle that comes my way. I became single for the very first time in my life when I was about 38 years old. And my parents had a home in Carmel because that's where we spent our summers. It was so hot in Sacramento. So my sister and I moved in, and she wanted a job. And I was just trying to get my feet on the ground. And she found a job at a stained glass studio, and she was just helping the owner. And she had to go out of town one time, and the owner called and said, well, your sister's gone. Is there any chance you could come up and help me?
Hmm.
I said, I know nothing about stained glass. She says, don't worry, I have a little project for you. We'll get you started. And it would really be a big help to me. So I said, okay, but I warned you. So I went up there, and she had this table set up with all kinds of different things, eyeglass lenses and big long things of lead and soldering irons. And so, in one quick little lesson, she showed me how to wrap what I had to wrap and solder what I had to solder and put it on a mold and make a lamp. She says,
Hmm.
you're going to make a lamp today.
Hmm.
I said, I'm going to make a lamp today. She said, definitely. And she left me. So I thought, oh boy, the challenge is on. So I started fiddling around with it. And I thought, this is really creative. I'm liking this. So I
Yep.
put together this lamp, and I thought, I don't know if it's what she wants, but this is what she indicated. And that was the lamp that was sold to the actress Kim Novak.
Wow.
So my very first lamp went to a star. Yeah.
Amazing.
And she asked me to come back again, and I did it another time, and I sold that lamp to Andy Griffith. Now I was really getting a fat head, lamp maker to the stars. But I fell into it, and I loved it, and it was creative. And the owner eventually wanted to sell, so my sister and I bought the studio, and we operated it for 15 years, and we did windows and skylights and lamps. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
That's an amazing story. You and your sister were these stained glass art makers to the stars, and I think that's really, really cool. Kim
Right.
Novak was huge. Andy Griffith, I think, was even bigger for decades and generations. So that's very, very cool. Very,
Then
very
there was
neat.
I also did some work for the Newmans, for Paul and Joanne Newman.
Well, that's cool too. Can't talk about a bigger star
Yeah,
couple than them. That's awesome. Well, with all this star power
yes,
around
thank you.
you, we need to get some stars to act in your movie. I think this book could be a great movie. Have you thought about it as a film?
Well, I have been in love with the movies since I was old enough to go downtown on Saturday afternoons with pocket money and watch double features. And that's my other friends are out doing other things, but me, I just adored the movies. And I think for this book to be made into a movie would probably be just the ultimate for
Yeah.
me. To see something like that in the form that I so loved for all those years when I was little.
Yeah. Well, you've made the first big step, which is publishing the book and putting the work out there. So you never know. We don't have big stars anymore like Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward and Kim Novak and Andy Griffith, but we'll have to find somebody to be in the film because that would be a stellar crew right there. Maybe Kim Novak is cricket, who knows? But that would be a
Oh,
different
that would
part.
be absolutely wonderful.
That'd be amazing,
Yes,
right?
it
That'd
would
be
be.
amazing.
Yes, it
Absolutely.
would be. Truly.
Writing about the Northwestern US obviously is something that came natural to you because you're from that region. What was it like taking that trip down memory lane when you were crafting the pages of this book?
Well, you put it in the right terms. It was a trip down memory lane. And my childhood with my grandparents was such a treasure. I didn't realize it at the time. You get older, you look back and you think, how lucky was I to have parents that trusted me to do what was right at whatever age I was.
Mm.
Grandparents that I was the oldest grandchild, so I was spoiled rotten, and I loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
So yes, it was down memory lane, and I could just close my eyes and I could smell the forests and hear the people, and that just it just came out, and there it was. And now it's on a book in a book. So
Exactly. Well, that's great. I'm glad you were able to preserve those memories because they're great memories. It's a wonderful era. I mean, I think everybody kind of looked like a movie star back in 1941. It was a very elegant era of men dressing well and women dressing well and ladies being ladies and gentlemen being gentlemen. I think it was a terrific bygone era, so I'm glad you explored it. Are you working on any other books? Are you working on any other novels?
Uh, yes, I am. I'm starting a second book. I've been involved with the promotion of this one, which has been a whole new world to me. Fortunately, I've met some wonderful people in the business who have helped me along. It's like taking a master class in book publishing. And
Right.
now I know so much more about it than I ever did when I started, because I only started it, by accident anyway. So yeah, I love the writing. And so I've been in about three chapters to a new book. Again, it's taking place during the World War, early 40s. But this time it's going to take place in Montana. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Is it connected to this book? Is it a sequel of sorts?
I thought about it, doing a sequel, but I thought, I don't know, those characters are so perfect in my mind. I
Yeah.
just wanted to let them stay and maybe just take it off from there, but not try to do a sequel. I don't think I've been writing long enough to be able to have done that correctly, but no, I thought about it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
really
I
did.
think another standalone book is just perfect anyway, because like you said, you love this book, you love the settings, you love the characters, and you kind of want to leave them right there between the covers of that book, that they're there every time you open it up.
That's right. That's how I
Yeah.
felt.
That's wonderful. Well, the name of the book, folks, is The Shingle Weaver's Picnic. It's set in 1941. It is a historical thriller that captures the tension of World War II, a murder mystery, and the journey of young Cricket, whose world is shaken both by war and tragedy. It's an amazing story. It's a compelling story. Like we've been saying all along, it's a trip to a wonderful era, a wonderful place, beautiful characters in a beautiful region with beautiful prose to explain it all to you and let the story unfold. Patti, thank you so much for joining me here today on
Oh, thank you.
Spotlight. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure.
Oh, it's been a great time having you on the show. I appreciate your time, and I always appreciate your stories and having you as a guest here. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.